So to become the man you were meant to be, to do the work, to actually change when you say that you're going to change, we'll have to look at the problem. There are four main problems that I see. One, effort. That feeds ego. Effort feeds ego. Two, poor support system. Three, identity that is built on outcome. And then four, all there is all there is. Now, effort that feeds ego. This is usually effort that is baseless. You desire to have a goal. You say that, yes, I am going to change. I'm going to change my monthly income from $100,000 to $250,000. That is the goal, and you do all the work necessary to increase your capacity. You do more work, you put in more hours, you put in more effort, and while there will be an increase in the outcome, and you feel like you're doing the work, you feel that you're actually making that change, the moment you don't actually put in that same consistent work, it's the moment you don't have any more money. It's very similar to how we operate in life with our emotions, with our convictions. Effort alone does not actually change what is going on in your heart, does not change your status, it does not change anything. What it does, it feeds your ego. What needs to happen is you need to build a system. So you say you want to change your income from $100,000 to $250,000, you need to probably get a promotion. So you need to then change your title. You need to change the way in which you work. You need to build a business that is able to add to your already existing income. What is the actual change is not necessarily the effort itself, because effort will always be rewarded. However, it's the system that you apply that effort to. That is what makes the actual change that you want to see, and the lasting change at that. So if it is that you say that you want to be a better husband, but you only remember to be a better husband when there's an issue and your wife is complaining that you're not doing X, Y, or Z, and then next week you do X, Y, or Z in order to appease your wife. But the moment you don't do X, Y, or Z, you gone back to the same issue. Rather than actually changing the system that you have in order to change the actual outcome itself. So rather than being amongst a certain group of friends that does not promote the lifestyle that you want to live with your wife, you say that you're going to do something different, but you're still hanging out with those friends. Why don't you change your friends? You change the system surrounding the outcome that you want to change. That way, when you fall on your knee, when you are not able to do the work on a particular day, on a given day, your system is still able to help you move forward. It's still able to hold you when you're not at your best, right? So that is effort and ego, and at the same time, poor support system. Because you all know the saying, show me friends and I can tell you who you are. If you have 9 friends who are gunmen, you have 9 friends who have criminal a criminal background, if you have 9 friends who are broke, if you have 9 friends who don't love Jesus, 9 times out of 10, guess who is number 10? You. So you are who you hang out with. You are, like, show me your friends and I can tell you who you are. Show me a system and I can tell you the goal that you're actually going to achieve. All right? So we need to change our system. The other problem, identity. We cannot have our identity rely on an outcome that is dependent on our identity. Outcomes are usually dependent on convictions. Outcomes are usually dependent on environmental factors. Outcomes are usually dependent on outside factors, other people, life. Those are the things that determine an outcome. However, your identity, which is something that you should have, a conviction that you should have about yourself, a conviction that should be solid as I'm still solid as a rock, you just can't stop me now. Like, your identity is something that should be able to influence your actions, your decisions, your state of mind. When you have a solid identity, not in the outcome that can change, but within yourself, within something or a system that actually supports you and supports you, regardless of whether or not you do the work needed or the effort needed, you're still encouraged, you're still motivated, you're still given the grace needed to get back up and move forward. That is what your identity needs to be built on. And for me, my personal identity is built on Christ. It's built through the lens of the crucified Christ. And having Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior has definitely been one of those things that has, from a very young age, changed the trajectory of where I could have been and has held me from going to depths and lengths that could have wrecked my life. So I am grateful that I have that identity system that holds me. And then we as men, we are very good at this. We've taught ourselves this. We've tricked ourselves into this. We have told our sons or friends or brothers. We've told everybody this. All there is all there is. If you go into different neighborhoods, if you go into certain socioeconomic neighborhoods that aren't necessarily well off, and this is just as an example, you can see that they don't think that there is anything more than what they actually see, which is the violence, which is a particular lifestyle, which is, having having multiple kids and no way to feed them. This is the general consensus of how men operate, or of how some men operate, and we have to redefine how it is that we view ourselves, how it is we view our reality, so that we will be able to achieve the change that we want to see. You get me? So where are we now? We've identified the problem. Now we need to figure out the solution. So we've identified the problem, but now we need to figure out the solution. What is the solution? The solution is our belief system, right? We have to change our belief system. We have to change not just our belief system, but our support system as well. We have to commit to the change itself. We have to build a system that we can commit to, that supports us when we don't particularly, or when we're not able to actually, execute well on the task at hand. And we need to look towards a better future, right? That's the solution. The tension that we have to hold, though, is within our own hearts, within our own psyche, our own mind, our own meditation, is that we don't have the belief that things can change. So for me, I remember having to struggle with certain thoughts, and those thoughts, I'm like, yo, all right, I need to change, bro. I need to change. Like, I've been hurting the people around me, and it just keep on getting worse. Every time I decide, like, I need to change. I need to change. I need to change. And I keep on chanting this over and over in my head. But every single time, I still don't actually do any form of change. One of the reasons that happens, and this is the tension we have to hold, is that we don't believe that we actually will change. We believe that this is where we are, this is who we are, and we can't change. So when we actually start to redefine who we are, when we start to redefine our belief that we believe that we can change, and it's more than just we can change. It is, I'm a gunman moving, or actually the perfect example is, I'm going to quit smoking. We need to change our perspective from I'm going to quit smoking to I have quit smoking. Yes, you still struggle with the temptation of smoking. You still struggle with the temptation of wanting to, burn a spliff here or have a cigarette here. But if you change your mindset from I am trying to quit smoking, in the back of your mind you're still thinking about, yeah, I smoke from time to time, I do it here and there. But if you have the mindset of I've quit smoking, there's no room for in the back of your mind, in your brain, to be like, oh, maybe we can't. No, the framework has shifted fully, and that's one of the things that we need to hold on, that tension that we need to hold on to. We need to also understand that we are very resistant to change. Men, we are stubborn. We are a stubborn set of people. And recognizing and acknowledging that we are very resistant to change, seeing that and going, okay, I know that I don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. to shoot content. I don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. to, find some time for myself, do some extra work, get started on the day so I can make the money that I want to make, so that I can then spend time with my family. Like, if we don't actually recognize that we don't want to do these things, it's going to be much harder. We're going to be living in a delusional state. like be real with yourself. You don't want to do it. You do not want to do it. And when we've acknowledged that, and when we have come to the conclusion that yes, we don't want to do it, but yet still we are going to do it, after those first 5 minutes of resistance, and we actually attempt at the change that we need to see, it's just going, the momentum will keep you going. And then we also have this fear of betraying ourselves, betraying where we're coming from, where we grew up, how we grew up, and that holds us back so much. We need to do better. Yes, you are changing. No, you are not betraying yourself. You are betraying yourself when you do not change. You are betraying yourself when it is that you have done something that is unsatisfying for you, for people around you, and you have not committed to changing. You have not committed to doing something about it. You have not changed your belief system. That is when you betray yourself. That is when you betray the people around you. It is not when you get rich and leave the space in which has been abusing you for a very long time, or leave the space in which the circumstances were not, favorable. That's not betrayal. That is what is supposed to happen. It's as if you are as a youth, you don't actually grow up to become a man. You don't take on the responsibilities that a man ought to take on. You still act as a youth. You would be betraying yourself and the people around you if you still act like a boy. These are the things that we hold on to that prevents us from change. So what do we need to do? What is the conviction? What is the resolution that we need to have? Like I said, my resolution is to redefine the belief, behaviors, boundaries of and about men, and helping others to do the same. That's my resolution. That's the journey that I am on. And if it is that you're on that journey too, if it is that you're just hearing about this and you would like to join on that journey, like hit subscribe, follow along. We will be going through this together. The next thing, so you need to find your definition, your conviction. That's the first thing. Take the solution, change the belief, figure out what it is that you are going to commit to. You need to accept the weight of change. What is the weight of change, Omari? The weight of change is the responsibility and the burden that comes with change. It is hard. Waking up at 4 a.m. to tidy up my house, to get some devotion done, to start work early, so that I can then have breakfast with my wife when she wakes up, and be able to enjoy that time with her before we get into work. That is hard, especially on days when I don't want to wake up. And I'm not saying that I get it right all the time. God, no. Don't get it twisted. I probably get up early 2 or 3 times for the week. My aim is to be able to do it at least 5 times for the week. But I understand, because I have changed my system, because I have changed my belief about what time I wake up, what the things that I have to do to get there. I have decided to accept the burden, accept the weight of waking up early, of accepting the weight of doing more work in order for me and my family to have the life that we want to live. I have to accept that. Else I'm going to be living in a delusional world where I'm just suffering and I'm in pain for no reason at all. Right? So you need to accept the weight of change. And then finally, hold on to hope. You have to have hope. Doing work without hope is meaningless, bro. If you don't have any hope that you actually will change, if you don't believe that you're actually going to change, then all of this will be for nothing. And for me, like I said earlier, knowing that Christ has saved my life, knowing that I have been brought into the kingdom of God, knowing that I have been adopted as a son through Jesus Christ, has definitely given me grace. It has given me the hope that I need in order to change, so that I can say to myself, boy, Omari, you have not necessarily been the best of husbands this week. However, God has given you grace, and He knows, and He has already done the work in order for you to be able to utilize the power He has given you to change. And that's what I'm inviting you into. I'm inviting you to, follow Jesus, to be a part of the kingdom that helps you to really and truly sit at the feet of God, to be able to be one with Him, to be able to love and cherish the one who created all this, everything, everyone. And the benefit of that is you get to see yourself become like a much better person. You see me? So follow along, become the man you were meant to be. Do the work that you need to do. Yes, do not stop trying. Please do not stop trying. However, trying harder is not what is going to actually change. It is changing your belief and actually making a commitment to the belief that you have. All right? So big up yourself. If you don't know, bless. Woo!